Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm glad that you found us here on YouTube and have joined our tribe of narcissistic abuse survivors. Today I kind of want to just tell you a little bit about some of the stages that were really they really stand out to me with my relationship with my narc. We're all familiar with the love bombing stage, because that's what cemented a relationship. Like, the love bombing stage is what sets a relationship apart for a relationship with a narcissist than a normal relationship, I would say, because it's so intense. It's not normal, right? Like, some people have contacted me and they've been with their narc for over 30 years. And they can still remember the love bombing. Like they have a hard time remembering the beginning of any other relationship and what it was like. But man, do you ever remember the love bombing with your narc? Because, they made it seem so wonderful, but when you really think about it, it wasn't normal. It really wasn't normal to get that attached and involved with each other and intertwined with each other so fast and so in depth. But I think the reason why a lot of people are having this happen more and more to them, and why these videos are starting to become more popular and the talks of narcissists, is, first of all, social media is playing such a huge role in creating narcissists and really helping mold them and advancing them in our society that wasn't there before. There might have been narcissists, but they couldn't really come to fruition from childhood without things like social media, right? And being able to, them getting obsessed about how many people liked them and looked at their pictures and looked at them, and they always had fuel sources through social media, but before things like the internet, they might have been forced to come up with their own fuel or do things. So I think that there's, as time goes by, there's going to be more of an epidemic of narcissists. And not only that, on the other side, it's social media that is creating people that are in need of the attention during love bombing. We're so connected through social media, through the whole world. But the thing is, what that's done is made us incredibly lonely. We might have so many friends and know so much and being able to connect so much online, but everyone is more lonely now than they've ever been because of social media. And I don't want to come down on millennials, but when I talk to some young people, they really think that, and they talk about the things that they see online, and they're they would always show me their phone and pictures and things. They almost start to think that the things that they see on their phone and the things other people are doing are their own personal experience somehow when they're looking at it on their phone. But when they look at their lives, they're lonely, and they don't really experience life the way it seems. And so many things on social media are fake, and it's all so it's created this environment where narcissists are formed faster and easier than they've ever been able to be formed before, especially with the upbringing and families. A lot of parents are divorced, and that creates this traumatic trauma bonding within the family. And then with social media, the narc really has an environment where they can really form, whether they're a covert narcissist or an overt narcissist. And then the supply that's out there for them are people that are lonely and really just starved for the kind of things that they see on social media and being able to experience it themselves, right? So when we come across a narcissist and they start to love bomb us, I mean, no one can blame you for not, embracing that and wanting that and staying with that, because we're actually just starved for it in our society, in our environment. Having someone pay so much personal attention to us and making us feel the way, the things that you saw on social media before, like if you see couples on social media that are just like in these beautiful environments, in nature or on vacation, and they look like they're in love and drinking wine on the beach or whatever, like it all looks amazing. And then when you actually find a narc that will actually do that for you, well, of course you kind of just go all in, right? And you don't even know that they're a predator. You just know that you're starved for this kind of attention, and you didn't even know it, So I've kind of had to forgive myself a lot for falling into their trap, right? Like they saw me, and I was at a time in my life when I met him. Obviously I was single. I had just moved into a new city. I didn't know a lot of people in that city, and I was actually kind of going out and trying to meet people and establish myself. And he kind of saw things in me where he can really just take and rope me in. Like a narc is not going to go after, I don't think, someone who has such a strong foundation in their life of what they are, because they won't be able to isolate them like they need to, because all narcs will isolate their supply because they don't want to share, right? So they see people that are in a place in their lives where they're able to just completely consume them. If you're a person, then you have like a really strong foundation of family and friends and have been there. Well, even if they want you as their main supply, they're going to actually remove you from all that, right? And turn you into the person that is very almost needy for what they have to offer. But if they see you and you're like I was in a new city, and I didn't know a lot of people. So when I had come out of a different relationship about a year earlier, and I hadn't dated really since. And so when he came in, I really was ripe for the picking. And I completely fell into his allure. Like I was all in. Like from the first date, we never spent like a day apart for almost 2 years. Like that's insane, right? And I'm thinking, oh, this is of course my soulmate, and we got married really fast. And there was no doubt, right, about whether or not we should get married. And it was just still like absolute whirlwind, and but when I look back at it, he saw that I was already kind of isolated, because I was new to the city, and like he saw that I was just in a really good supply for him, and he would be able to almost keep me like isolated and stop me from having friends. The friends that I did have, I stopped talking to, and I was completely his. And then when you're in that environment and they start to devalue you, right? Like the supply is just not as potent as it used to be after, I was with him for 7 years. And then they start, looking for secondary supply until finally, they start creating negative fuel out of you, and they're looking, and then they're off, and they're going to start their cycle again by completely discarding you, and then leave you in ruin while they're off with their new supply. But a lot of people don't want to fall victim again to the love bombing. And on the dates that I've been on, like since then, it's almost weird that I think, well, I'll go on a really good date and I don't hear from them for a couple days, and I'm like, okay, or I'll be like a week until I see them again, and then it's very casually, and I haven't really had a big connection with someone, but I'm like, maybe is that normal? Like, because the last major relationship I had was with the narc, and it was from day one. Well, you might as well as like attached us at the hip. Like, we were just never without each other. I mean, and I'm thinking that that's supposed to happen again, but it's not. It's not. That's not healthy. You still have to be your own person. You can't just look for someone to hand yourself over to someone. So, right? And so, and I want to like warn people that, don't let yourself get caught up in the fact that, you're lonely the more your time you're spending online, and as soon as someone would come in like a narc, they're going to take you, right? So, and it's so hard not to want to do that, because I think society is just so starved for it. And like, the reason why I'm putting things like this on YouTube is really to put awareness of it, because this is something that very unfortunately no one will ever know about until it happens to them, right? Because there's so many relationship YouTube channels out there about like what to do when like someone ghosts you, or what to do when he ignores you or doesn't call you back, and like those are all normal relationships, right? And especially with social media. But you have a hard time finding one when you're dealing with a narcissist, because society is creating them rapidly, but there's still not a lot of information out there about the devastating effects of it, and how it actually is a hugely abusive relationship. It's not a normal relationship. And the thing is, it starts off with perfection, almost over the top love bombing. And that's really like the awareness that we need to bring to especially young people out there, that I think are really starved for it. And as soon as they come across a narc, they're going to be a victim, right? And they're going to be turned into a main supply. And we all know, if you're listening to this, that it's a road to ruin, and there's no happy ending with a narcissist. So, you think you're in a fairy tale and you're going to live happily ever after, and we all know that's not going to happen. But more and more, everyone will fall victim to it. So, and I can probably go on forever about that, but I'm gonna leave it there. Please leave me your comments and be sure to subscribe. And I just wanted to just get that out about what I think is really going on with supply and demand with a narcissist, and impasse and supply with social media. So leave me your thoughts. I love reading your guys' comments, and I really appreciate your support for this channel as we all move forward as survivors post narcissist.